So we're going to look specifically at the number 4 chord of a progression in this lesson. Now, especially for the modern sound, the 4 chord has a little more color to it than a normal traditional sounding 4 chord would be. I'm going to show you what that is and how to play that on the guitar, and basically be able to apply it in any instrument, because you're going to learn some principles about this 4 chord. So I want to show you here rather than just explain it. So I'm going to go, and we're going to go to the G form. Once again, important to know these. So G form. And let's actually play it in the key of G for this example, so it's open. So here we go. This is the 1 chord. It's a real modern way to play a 1 chord, which is a G major. Okay, and if you know any kind of modern songs in G, for the 4 chord, which is a C, you probably move to this. And it sounds really good in the key of G when the 4 chord is played this way. And there's a reason for that. The reason why this sounds really cool is because it makes a chord that is technically called a C add 9 chord. So it's got some colors built in there. This is a type of a major chord, but it adds this 9 note to it, which sounds really cool. And basically, the way you make this happen, an easier way of thinking about this is this. Whenever you play a 4 chord, if you were to just play the 1 chord while the 4 chord is being played, you're going to get a chord that is technically called a major 9 chord. Now, major 9 is going to sound a little different than add 9, but it's still going to have that kind of fancy, colorful sound, and it's used all the time in modern songs, especially modern worship songs. And so you can actually see this like visually demonstrated here. So remember, this is what a 4 chord looks like, how we kind of play it. If you think about it, it's actually combining. Whoa, wrong color. It's combining the 1 chord. Remember, this was the 1 chord. Well, this isn't changing at all. So these strings up here, these 3, are still playing a 1 chord while this bass note moves to the 4. You're adding this. So it's almost like you're combining a 4 chord and a 1 chord here. And that is why you get this type of sound. But to do it in kind of manually manipulate this using chord tones, you would use this principle. Whenever you see a 4 chord, just play the 1 chord, and you're going to get this 4 major 9 sound. I'm going to show you quickly what that would look like when it's not in this open form. So once again, let's take this now to the key of A. Remember, in the key of A, all of this will shift up 2 frets. And so here we go. So whenever you encounter a 4 chord, which this is A, so it'll all be built on this, a typical 4 shape, just using these 3 notes again, but it doesn't have to apply just to these. It could be any one of these. You can actually play a full-on 1 chord over the 4 with the band playing. You'll get this sound. But here is your typical 4-chord shape right there. Those are the chord tones of the 4. What you would do is instead of that, you would play the 1-chord shape, which, remember, the 1, there's 2 ways to play it now. You would just change out this note and this note there, and you would either play this shape over the 4-chord, or you would play this shape over the 4-chord, or you would play, you remember this is more of the chord tone, you can, or the arpeggio, however you want to look at it, while the 4-chord is being played. And you'll get this sound. But also, you can play now a 4 or a 1 whenever a 4-chord is being played, and you'll have more notes to play. So now watch this. Here is the 1-chord tone. Chord tones for the 1 chord. Here I'm going to add to it the chord tones for the 4-chord. So there, and remember. So now if you're looking at this as either an arpeggio or chord tones of amount of notes, different notes you can play over the 4-chord, now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different notes right on these 3 strings you can play to move in and out of the 4-chord to give you either that traditional 4-chord sound or this modern major 9 sound. So that is one unique thing about the 4-chord, and the 4-chord is just a great chord. A lot of colorful things you can do, and this is one way to kind of enhance the 4-chord.